Good morning, and today is a continuation of our neutral accent training for Filipinos series. So we are now on part 5, which is discussion of the T sounds. Okay, so I hope you were able to watch the previous video, so you at least from that point you would understand where we are coming from in continuation of these lecture. Okay, so mastering these T sound variations would greatly improve your communication skills, particularly on the way you sound. Okay, so it requires a lot of practice, but at least you are aware to begin with of the different T variations. So there were 7 of them. So I'll be discussing each with a lot of examples. So I hope you'll be able to practice them yourself and be able to mark the text accordingly so you can practice by your own. Okay, so first we have this aspirated T. Okay, so with this aspirated T, you'll just have to blow a short gust of air as you pronounce the sound if it is preceded by an S. Okay, so I'm gonna get some paper. Okay, so you have the piece of paper here with me. So this piece of paper, you face the corner on top. Okay, so like this. Then you cover your mouth with the edge. Okay, try blowing the paper. It should move like this. Okay, now so to do the aspirated T, you have to blow a short gust of air as you pronounce the sound, even if it is preceded by an S. Okay, for example, okay, you repeat after me by doing this. Tell. Okay, wait. Tell. So it should move. The paper should move. So, but because of the air that you blow, tell, tap, talk, today, tomorrow, to, tip, tall, time, turn, tide, touch, tab, stop. So you sound the S first before you aspirate the T. Stop, stick, stalk, stab, still, stuck. Okay, with a sample sentence, we have tell her to talk to me tomorrow. So you notice that every time I pronounce a T sound, the air moves, okay? The paper moves, I mean. So if you notice that upon reading this, the paper doesn't move, then you're doing it wrongly. You have to uh, put in air inside of you, then stop it within between your tongue and teeth, then blow it in a plosive motion. That's why we call it plosives. Okay, so as Filipinos, we're not used to that because we pronounce the letter T without aspirating it. So it sounds like this: tell, tap, talk, today, tomorrow, to, tip. So you notice the paper did not move. So that's one improvement you can do yourself by practicing that. Always when you pronounce a T, especially when it is in the beginning of the word, or if it is followed by an S, then blow the air. Okay, so not only is T is aspirated, we also aspirate the K sound because it's a voiceless consonant. K, k. You notice the air still blows, the paper still moves. Kid, cool, can, cute, corner, cold, come, skip, school, scan, skin, accurate. Can you keep your cool when you're in school? So the K sound is also aspirated. Other than the K sound, we also aspirate the P in the beginning, like put, put, pure, part, pill, pile, spit, spell, spirit, spend. Peter Piper pick a pack of pickled peppers. Peter Piper pick a pack of pickled peppers. Ayan. Okay, so you notice the movement there. So that's important. The T, P, and K sound. The K sound could also be spelled as C. So you aspirate those. Okay, to mark the the aspiration in a text, let's say a newspaper paragraph. So just put a small h on top of the letter, like here. You put an h here, Peter, then the pi. So just put an h there to remind you, a small h, to remind you that you have to blow an air on those letters. So the same goes with the K. You put an H here, put an H here, or other stuff, and the T as well. So if, for example, the word is tick, you put an H here so that you'll be reminded to blow the air when you pronounce them. It takes a lot of discipline to do that and practice. Doesn't you won't remember these overnight. So the best way to remember these things is to practice them. Sige, why don't you look for a partner for just for fun and practice them, taking turns with each other. Okay, so please, okay, let me put the paper so you would notice the aspirated parts. Please stop talking to the teller on the counter. Can you put the cat on top of the table? Pete could have taken the car to the mechanic for repairs. So every time I encounter the P, the T, the K, the paper moves. So that's the test for the aspirated T. Now we have number 2, we have the soft D. Okay, with this soft D, you sound it like a D with the tongue not touching the alveolar ridge. It's in between T and D. It's not T, it's not D, so it's somewhere in the middle. So you just have to flap your tongue a little softly or very thinly to the alveolar on top, on the roof of your tongue or the base of your front teeth, the upper front teeth. So that's why we call it the flap D. Okay, so for example, you say it's not better, it's not cavity. That's very Filipino, but most native speakers, English native speakers, would pronounce that as better. So you don't say better, it's already a D, but you don't say better as a T. So it's somewhere in the middle between T and D. Better, cavity, city, 30. So when you count 30 to 39, so it would sound 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and so on. And we have activity. So almost all words that end with ty are pronounced as D, like a soft D. The activity, activity center. And we have motor, motorcycle, bottom, automatic. So the two T's there have the same soft D sound. And what happens is if there are two words and the first word ends with a T and the next word begins with a vowel. So what happens is that T becomes a soft D. So you say beat it, cut it out. So you notice here we have a T here. So since you have to connect it with the next word, you have to write a small D here. How do you mark it? write a small d on top of the letter and another small d here. So you have to read these three words as one word. Cut it out. Same here. You say about it, got it. So you don't read them as separate words, but read them as one word. Did you get it? Yes, I got it. Okay, is it raining? Yes, it is. It is. So you always sound this as a Z. It is. That is. Put out. When you put out the fire, put it in. See the two T's here? You have to write a D on top of it as well to remind you that it's supposed to be pronounced as a soft D. Let it go. Remember the song? So even the songs themselves would teach you the proper enunciation of the words. Like the song "Beat It," you don't say "beat it," "beat it." Michael Jackson didn't sing it that way. Remember the song "Let It Go," so it's not "Let It Go." So you don't pronounce them as separate words, but combine them or connect them together. So for example here, if I don't use the soft D, it would sound like this. Betty Butter bought some butter, but said she, the butter's bitter. That's the way we pronounce it or we read it as a Filipino. And sometimes our regional accent would even go in the way. Like if I'm Ilonggo, so if I include my Ilonggo accent there, it would sound like, if I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of bitter butter will make my bitter batter better. So those were intonation issues that would even come with the way we pronounce words. Okay, so using the soft D, notice how it improves. Betty Butter bought some butter, but said she, the butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will make my bitter batter better. So she bought some better butter, better than bitter butter, put it in her bitter batter, made her bitter batter better. So it was better Betty Butter bought some better butter. Okay, so you notice also the use of the vowels there. Like if it is an O, you have to drop your jaw. So because it's a double dotted A, so it sounds as ah. Okay, butter. But if it's a U, it sounds as b, butter. So you notice the lips opening. It's not as open as the butter word. Okay, then we have bitter. Then we have batter. Emphasize the a sound. Then we have better. This one is if a word ends in T and the next word begins with a vowel, then you have to write a D here. You have to write a D, a letter, small letter D on. If this is a paper, if this is a text, you have to write it on top. You have to mark the words to remind you as a signpost, to remind you that you have to pronounce them as soft D. It's not totally D. You don't say butter. It's just a reminder that it's sounded as a soft D. That's the closest symbol you can put. So that this would sound as bara. Bara, then you connect this word again, bit of, bit of. So soft D here. But a bit of. So that's how you do it. Same here. Put it, put it, put it in. Okay, put it in her bitter butter, a bitter batter. So this is a tongue twister actually. So you read it slowly but accurately. Then don't compromise accuracy with speed. Okay, always prioritize accuracy. So read it slowly. Betty butter bought some butter, but said she the butter's bitter. You can start that way. Then as your accuracy gets better, Then work on your speed. So the faster you go, the better it is. So that your tongues can get used to pronouncing these very difficult um, lines. Okay, number three, we have the held back T. So the best way to pronounce the held back T is by ignoring it because usually it comes in the end of the of a word. Okay. Okay, so for example, we have here. Okay, you know this sometimes we make fun of people saying this, or we ourselves do it intentionally to make fun of the situation. But actually, this is how they really pronounce the words. So they say that. So they put a stop on the end of the vowel sound. So they don't need to pronounce the T sound. So they just stop at the vowel like the. It's like the we have that kind of vowel in Filipino. They say bata. You don't say bata. We say bata. So the a there. Imagine that there's a T at the end of the a, the a sound. So that's how it's done. So you say that instead of that. That was great. It was good. Okay. I think there were ants in my ears. Again, you say, is that you? No one but you. That's not true at all. Okay, so you often hear them in songs or even in movies. So try it yourself and you'll sound better. Another exercise we have. Have you seen Batman? Can you do the catwalk? Do you play football? Where's your notebook? So notebook. I did not pronounce the T there, even though it's in the middle of the word. Now, I like watching Cartoon Network. Okay, number four, we have this obscured T. It's an almost silent T when it's preceded by an N. So it's only applicable for unstressed syllables. You don't do this with stressed syllables. For example, you say, "Do you really want it?" Okay, I never wanted anyone like this. You remember the song by Crazy for You? So it has that line. I never wanted anyone like this. So you almost, it's not totally silent, but it's almost silent. So we say obscured. Obscured means vague, not clear. So then you often hear people who work in BPOs as I'm a call center agent. But with us Filipinos, if you're talking to just other Filipinos, you say call center, it won't matter. No one would correct you on that. But if you're working on the floor or if you're talking to native speakers, they would expect you to say it correctly. You don't say call center, you say call center. Then when you host, how do you welcome people? Ladies and gentlemen. You see, you don't say ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you're listening to Studio 23. So whenever you count from 20 to 29, you say you obscure the T. 21, 22, 23, 24, 28, 29, 30. So when you reach 30, that's a soft D already. It's not an obscured T, it's a different T sound. How's your internet connection? Internet. Internet subscription. Okay, do you have printed copies of that? Printed. Printer. Okay, accountancy department or accounting department. I'm an accountant. Okay, I play Counter Strike. Okay, but you don't do that with canteen. So the reason is because the teen there is a stressed syllable. 17. Maintain. or until. So you cannot obscure the T there because they were stressed syllables. It's only applicable with unstressed what you call the syllables. Okay, number 5, we have this silent vowel sound. So this occurs when T is followed by a vowel and an N. So the vowel is ignored. Usually it also applies to the letter D as well. Like a T, then there's a vowel here, then an N, or sometimes a D or a vowel there and an N. Okay, so for example here, there's a T here, then we have two sets of vowels that is sounded as one vowel, schwa, then a consonant again. So the vowels are in between the two consonants. So you say across the mountain top. Okay, you don't say mountain top, but whenever you say that, actually most people don't care. Okay, but whenever you're speaking, most native speakers would pronounce it that way. It is written in the stars. And the names of people as well, you say they're not pronounced as Martin, except if it has a Spanish origin or Filipino name, then you say Martin Rivera. But when you are in the US, like Martin Luther King, if the person is American, then it has to be pronounced that way, Martin. Michael Jordan. Okay, but if you're talking about a Filipino person, Jordan Herrera, pronounce it as Jordan, it's fine. But if it's referring to American or foreign people, Jordan River, Ben Gordon. So you don't pronounce the O there or the A. You just pronounce the D, then pronounce the N directly. Jordan, Gordon. Certainly burdensome. We're live at Madison Square Garden. Don't click the red button. Please read the first sentence. Great Britain. Students. That's not important. So that's how they pronounce that. Okay, number 6, we have the SH sound, which is very common, and we don't have most of a problem pronouncing this because we're so used to this. Like lotion, caution, ambitious, nutrition. So they're pronounced as SH. But be careful with the ION vowel sound. It's not Sean, like this, Sean, nutrition, caution. You don't say that. It's shun. It's a schwa sound. Shun. Lotion. Remember Miriam Defensor Santiago when she pronounces words that end in ION? The Constitution with the education, something like that. So most people make fun of her because she studied at Harvard. So that's how people pronounce the words with ION. It's a schwa sound. Okay, we're so used to pronouncing Sean or show because with the Spanish influence that we have, like Bonifacio. So whenever we see IO, it's pronounced as show. Even though there are English words that are pronounced like that, like ratio. So, but with ION, it should be schwa. And finally, we have the CH sound. Okay, this usually occurs when T is followed by a long U sound or by an R. For example, you say, try it. You don't, we don't pronounce the R by moving our tongue. That's a Mexican or Spanish influence like Rodilito, Victor. So we trail our tongue. But here in English, we don't move the R. We don't move our tongues. So pronounce the R without moving your tongue. It's like an angry dog. Er. Okay, so try it. So the T here, when it's followed by an R, it sounded as a CH sound. So try it. Situation. When we are T is followed by U sound. Situ. You don't say situation or try it. So we say situation. Name that tune. Tell me the truth. Eventually. Tulips. YouTube. uh, Punctual. Sumptuous. Students. Actually. Okay, so but there are other options for the words like YouTube. YouTube could be pronounced as YouTube. Tune could be pronounced as tune. So, but usually the one that is the T that's sounded as a CH is pronounced as uh, CH when it's followed by U. Oh, the roosters are having a concert behind me. So I'm surrounded by chickens everywhere. And the reason is, as you see behind me, it's getting, uh, you're enjoying the sunset, free sunset on this video. So it was recorded early morning. Okay, so I was hoping that it's quiet, but the roosters are, I don't know, it interrupts the recording. Okay, moving on. We're almost done. Then we have true or false. Trust me. Tremendous. Free trial. Fortune. Virtue. Tree. Sanctuary. Tuesday. Saturated. Okay, to mark the CH sound, you just write a CH, the letter CH here on top. Small letters. Just to remind you that you pronounce these word with the CH. Okay, sanctuary. So sound it, mark it with a CH here. Okay, let's read this. Let's try to actually seek the truth on the sanctuary of virtues. So there's a lot of CH sounding T there. So as a Filipino, you might possibly pronounce that as let's try to actually seek the truth on the sanctuary of virtues. Okay, so you see the difference. Okay, so our next topic would center around the difference between S or Z. So I hope you keep watch for that next video. So we end here and see you on the next recording. Bye bye.